Hello, I'm MovieHanger, and today we have a brief summary of the sci-fi film The Signal. A group of hackers receives strange messages from another hacker named Nomad and sets out to find him, but what they discover shocks them. The film begins with a boy playing a claw machine. One of the main characters, Nick, approaches the boy, gives him $1, and helps him win a toy. The scene shifts to a group of friends spending time together. The girl is named Haley, and the other guy is named Jonah. Nick wakes up in a hotel with his friends and suddenly receives a message on his phone from someone named Nomad. From the friends' conversation, we understand that he has contacted them before. He also caused trouble for them by hacking their university's network, nearly getting them expelled. The group starts exchanging emails with him, only receiving cryptic responses in return.
What is it?
Nomad writes that if the friends follow him, he will mess with them. Suddenly, a webcam turns on, showing a live feed from right behind the friends. Nick gets a bit scared and turns off the camera. We then learn that this group is something like hackers. Using their skills, they start searching for the stranger's address and find out that the signal came from Nevada. The friends realize they need to travel through Nevada anyway and decide to visit the stranger. Haley interrupts them.
You guys being serious right now? Well, you're driving in the morning, so good night.
The next morning, the group of 3 sets out on their journey. While they are driving, Nomad sends them a photo of their car taken from a traffic camera. Jonah wonders why the stranger is doing all this, and Nick responds that there is only one reason. The stranger wants recognition to participate in the hacker race. They stop at a gas station, and a conversation ensues between the 2 friends.
I can't, dude.
There's no reason we shouldn't do this too. Nomad hacking in MIT is one thing, but Haley's computer? It's crazy not to go after this guy.
The group continues on their way. While Nick goes to get coffee, Haley asks Jonah if Nick has said anything to him about her. It turns out that Nick and Haley are dating, but Haley needs to move to California for a year, which Nick is very unhappy about. As he leaves the store, their friend on crutches falls, spilling all the coffee, and the group goes to help him. After getting up, Nick goes back to get more coffee and, returning to his friends, agrees to pay the stranger a visit. Nick asks Jonah where Haley went, to which Jonah points in a direction, and Nick goes to look for her. Finding Haley sitting near a cliff, they have a conversation during which we learn that Nick might end up in a wheelchair. Haley doesn't want to break up, but Nick says he can't be a support for her, and there is no other way. Haley is upset by these words and throws away a pendant that her beloved gave her. The group sets off again. They plan to drop off Haley first and then go after the stranger, but Haley objects.
Now I want to meet this asshole.
The group arrives at their destination only at night. The place turns out to be a creepy wasteland, with the only structure being an old house.
I think Mama sat in that chair.
Nick and Jonah go into the house, leaving their friend in the car. Exploring the house, the friends find only a jump scare from Jonah. Nick mentions the presence of a basement in the house, and Jonah, along with their limping friend, goes there. The basement is as empty as the house itself, but they find server racks in it. Suddenly, they hear Haley scream. Rushing to help, they don't find the girl in the car. All the doors are open and the radio is glitching. Looking around, they eventually find Haley. Something dragged the girl to Sky, and then the same thing happens to the guys. Nick regains consciousness in a strange laboratory, where people in hazmat suits lead him to an interrogation. The person in the hazmat suit turns out to be Damon, the head of the scientific team. He wants to understand what exactly happened to Nick. Nick himself doesn't understand what happened or where his friends are. Damon informs Nick that he has made contact with an extraterrestrial biological entity. In other words, an alien.
What are you talking about? Why can't I move? Why am I in a wheelchair?
The doctor approaches Nick and wipes a liquid that starts dripping from his nose,
It's just blood.
thus ending the interrogation for the day and taking Nick to a room. In the room, other scientists observe Nick through a glass. As Nick is being taken to another interrogation, he notices Haley lying unconscious on a hospital bed. He asks to stop so he can talk to his girlfriend, but they ignore him and continue on. A new interrogation begins, during which Nick is asked strange questions.
Do you have 10 toes? Are you from Earth?
They show him a still frame from a video they recorded in the house, where something is sitting behind a tree, and it is definitely not a hacker. In the room, Nick hears Jonah through the ventilation. Jonah tells him that something is wrong with his body and that he needs to leave. In the new interrogation, Nick is asked to identify the color of shapes placed in front of him on a table. Nick finds this very irritating, but manages to complete the task. When Nick asks why they are asking him all these questions, Damon doesn't give an answer. Nick also mentions that all the clocks in the facility show the same time, to which the scientist thanks him for noticing this flaw and explains that all the clocks have simply run out of batteries. Nick grows tired of the situation and, under the pretext that he won't say another word, he gets a meeting with Haley. It turns out she's in a coma. Nick is told that as soon as she wakes up, he will be informed immediately, and they take him back to his room. There, he uses makeshift materials to create a device to read the code from the lock. Jonah contacts Nick again through the ventilation and says that they are all infected. Nick reads the combination from the lock to Jonah, but Jonah says that they injected him with something and he can't feel his hands. Jonah ends the conversation, saying he has to go. We see Damon and his assistant conducting some kind of experiment with a cow, during which something emerges from the opened gates, the lights go out, and a chair flies to the window. This plays into Nick's favor as the lab goes on high alert and he manages to briefly escape from his escorts, but he is quickly caught again and taken somewhere.
I was just looking for the water fountain.
The escorts enter a room with Nick and close the door behind them. The loudspeaker announces that a certain object has broken loose. It seems the malfunction is fixed, the lights come back on, and again, disabled guy is taken through a damaged corridor for interrogation. The main character asks the doctor what broke loose, but receives no answer. Nick then argues with the doctor, who delivers unexpected news. Jonah is not in the complex. He was the only one they didn't find. Nick is returned to his cell. Confused about whom he has been talking to through the ventilation, Nick nevertheless waits for his interlocutor by the vent. Damon comes to check on his patient and discovers that Nick is missing. Inspecting his bed, he finds numerous notes about the structure of the complex. Meanwhile, Nick is escaping down the corridor with Haley. He struggles to reach the code lock, so he delays and tries to use a pipe, but he is caught again and sedated. In his visions, we see how he participated in races before he injured his legs. Waking up, Nick finds Haley beside him, looking better. Before she can speak to him, she loses consciousness again. Researchers try to restrain Nick, but when he falls, they back away as if frightened. On the floor, Nick notices strange marks on his arm, and upon removing a bandage, he sees his new legs.
What the hell?
Damon tries to calm him down, telling him to connect an IV. However, Nick discovers he has inhuman strength and breaks the door. He heads down the corridor towards the exit, reaching the elevator. He rushes into the elevator, taking Haley with him, but Damon stops the doors from closing with his hand. Damon tells Nick that he can protect him from them only here, below. Nick, however, intimidates Damon with his powerful legs, ignores him, and goes upstairs. After bandaging his wounds, he arrives at a level and walks through the tunnels. Entering a door at the end of the tunnel, he steps outside and Haley opens her eyes. They walk through the wasteland for a long time until a kind old lady picks them up and they tell her they are lost. She starts acting strangely.
Did you hear that? Listen, with your mouth open like this. God's little angels.
The old lady drives them to a bar, and the couple goes in to seek help. Nick hides Haley behind some trucks and goes into the bar, trying to call the police, but the phone has no signal. On TV, he sees that the couple is already being searched for. Nick notices a truck driving off with Haley and tries to chase it, but the driver throws him off. Infuriated, Nick runs after the truck at an inhuman speed. Haley threatens the driver with a gun, and the couple hijacks the truck. However, they can't drive far as the road ends. Meanwhile, the scientists stop the old lady who helped the couple and take her in for questioning. Even during the interrogation, the old lady behaves in an unsettling manner. Black liquid starts to flow from her nose, and Damon pulls out a gun, neutralizing her. Meanwhile, the couple takes another road. They arrive at an unfamiliar house and inspect it. Inside, they find a map and realize something is wrong. The map doesn't match their route at all, as if they are in a different world. While the couple stays the night in the house, a SWAT team arrives at the truck driver's location and seals all the entrances and exits. Damon asks the homeowner if he has seen the couple, to which the man behaves erratically, attempting to shoot the scientist. Damon has no choice but to kill him. In the meantime, Nick and Haley discover Jonah in a hazmat suit nearby. He is initially frightened by them, but then recognizes and hugs them. Nick puts Haley to bed, and he and Jonah have an interesting conversation.
What is an ID number? No, it's just not for you. It's an ID for this whole area, Nick. 2 + 3 + 5 + 41. Area 51, Nick. We're in Area 51.
Jonah believes they are trapped in a massive government zone. He then shows that the same thing that happened to Nick's legs has happened to his arms. Disguised as a researcher, Jonah drives his friends in a truck, bypassing the guards. However, they are discovered, and barriers are activated. Jonah has to fight his way through, protecting his friends. He takes cover in a house, trying to lower the barriers for his friends, but a grenade is thrown at him. With his last strength, he goes to his friends, but he is shot. Nick and Haley drag him aside, but Jonah insists they leave him and keep going. Jonah breaks the barrier, allowing his friends to escape. Using his powerful arms, he fights off the guards to give his friends a head start. The couple continues driving and encounters an ambush led by Damon on their path. Nick loses control of the vehicle, and it flips over. Haley is taken away again by helicopter. Reading Damon's name backward, Nick realizes that Damon is Nomad. Damon calls Nick his greatest achievement.
Take a look at yourself. Perfect integration of human will and alien technology. You were the one who came looking for me. So you might want to ask yourself, did I find what I was looking for?
After a rush of memories, Nick runs with all his might straight through the ambush. He crashes into an invisible wall, breaking through it and finding himself in a very strange place. Damon approaches the hole and removes his mask, revealing his true nature. Nick looks around and realizes that not only is he not in his own country, but he is also not on his own planet. And that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.